Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Ma'am Marwa and all my friends. I'm Aniruliza. So now I would like to show about context and culture for chapter 6. In the actual experience of language, its four parameters are neither as discrete nor as static as the model is sometimes taken to suggest. Yet it is a different kind of abstractions from descriptions of the formal system of grammar and sounds, and it views language from a different perspective. It points the why towards the analysis of language in use, enabling us to take into account many relevant factors other than the words themselves. Context is factors outside a stretch of language under consideration but relevant to its interpretations. Example, the situations, paralinguistics, communication, cultural knowledge, other text or other part of the some text. Okay, next slide. The factor there are, firstly, involved in interpreting a real encountered tone of voice and facial expressions. Second, the relationship between speakers. Third, their age, sex, and social status. Fourth, time and place. And the last, the degree to which speakers do or do not share the same cultural background. Okay. Systematizing context. Discourse analysis. Discourse analysis is the study of how stretches of language in context are perceived as meaningful and unified by their use. Firstly, about paralanguage. Second, pragmatics. Third, genre studies. Firstly, about paralanguage. When we speak, we do not only communicate through words. A good deal is conveyed by tone of voice, whether we should or whisper, for example, and by the use of our bodies, whether we smile, wave our hands, touch people, make eye contact, and so on. Such as communicative behavior used alongside language is paralanguage. Pragmatics is the discipline which studies the knowledge and procedure which enable people to understand each other's words. Its main concern is not the literal meaning, but what speakers intend to do with their words and what it is which make this intention clear. Last, genres, a term defined by the applied linguistic John Swallows as a class of communicative events which share some set of communicative purpose. Other possible examples of genre include conversations, conclusions, lessons, email, web pages, brochures, prayers, new bulletins, stories, jokes, operas, and soap operas. Okay, this is about when I explained before the slides. Systematizing context, paralanguage. When we speak and not communicate through words, language cannot be used for communication without paralanguage. Pragmatics is the Kipling, which studies the knowledge and procedures which enable people to understand each other's words. Genre, defined by linguists John Swallows as a class communicative events which share some set of communicative purpose. Now we are talking about cultures. The successful interpretations of language in context depends upon the degree to which the participants share conventions and procedure, including those related to parent language, pragmatics, and genre, such as conventions and procedure together with the value and belief which lie behind them are elements of cultural knowledge, and the people who share them can be tough, always belong to the same cultures. The definition of culture is convention and procedures, including those related to parallel language, pragmatics, and genre, together with values, belief which lie behind them are elements of cultural knowledge. Next, first, cross cultural communications. It is communication between members of different national or ethnic communities. Second, related to applied linguistics. It is related in many ways, for example, language planning, foreign language education and translations, or in a monolingual setting. What is considered to be cross-cultural? Clinical linguistics deals with individuals whose communication need involve more than one language, one set of cultural procedures, language used in workplace, and loud card communication involves members of different communities. Communication across different groups with different knowledge and value can be conveyed always being cross-cultural. The example about generations, social classes, the two sexes, sexual orientations. In fact, communication and the problems which surround it, and therefore applied linguistic itself, is in many ways an inherently cross-cultural phenomenon. Translation and applied linguistic. Firstly, it is impossible to translate a text from one language to another using the same phrase structure, voice, and meaning at the same time. Second, a translator has to choose which effect to achieve through translations, literal translations, or a smooth following text that communicate the same meaning. Third, culture has to be understood to be able to translate from one culture to another. Okay, translations, culture, and context. For example, in English, the word you can be translated to French, but the translator has to decide between the following first formal second person pronoun. Two informal second person pronoun. Example, translations of news headlines between Arabic and English. Which one do they use? Why? The word martyrdom or shahada. Okay, now we are talk about translations, culture, and context too. For translators, decision had to be made all the time on what structure to use, what meaning to convey, and effect to be added to get well understood text. a knowledge of context and culture necessary. Why don't we rely machines to translate for us? The human factor that understands culture and context is missing. Okay, it is about slide teaching culture. It has long been that the teaching of culture is related to language teachings. However, there are differences. For example, if you want to learn Chinese, then you already have some interest in the Chinese culture and you will be willing to learn it. How about English? Because of its lingua franca status, English is viewed differently. Different ideologies might reject a culture while indeed of learning the language teaching English in Saudi Arabia. Applied linguistic does not interfere in such issues, but it will try to give informed insight to help those who will have the obligation to make such decisions. Okay, this is about my presentation. I'm so sorry for my mistakes. I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good afternoon.